Esta es la banda sonora de la película TENET, que se estrena mañana en Colombia, el jueves en Colombia, el jueves. Y Mateo está con Christopher Nolan. Mateo.
Julio, y a esta hora me encuentro con el director británico-americano Christopher Nolan, más conocido por películas como Interstellar, El Caballero de la Noche e inclusive Dunkerque, que viene a hablarnos, a promocionar su nueva película, su más reciente trabajo titulado TENET. Mr. Nolan, good morning. Thank you so much for being here with us in W radio station.
Well, no worries. Thank you very much for having me.
Mr. Nolan, as a first question, I would like to know, how is the process of writing the script in parallel with scientific research, and how are these two elements integrated? I mean, how difficult is to adapt a scientific language to a film language?
Well, I had a lot of experience with that with Interstellar, actually, working with the great physicist Kip Thorne, and I actually involved him a little bit in this, sort of showing him my ideas and what I was trying to work with. What I've found is that science, real science, the real analysis of what happens in our world, can suggest great things to you as a screenwriter. They can suggest tremendous possibilities. So I'm always very open to that. You know, I have an idea about what the rules of the world could be, and you know, how I can adapt them to a story. And then in speaking or researching physics or speaking to a physicist, you'll learn something about what actually goes on in the world that is stranger and more mind-blowing than anything you could invent yourself. And so as a creator, you then hungrily take that and adapt it to your purposes. It can be very inspiring.
Bueno, Mateo le pregunta a Christopher Nolan cómo es el proceso de la escritura del guión en paralelo con la investigación científica, y el director de cine británico le responde que tiene mucha experiencia con esto de integrar el lenguaje científico y el cinematográfico por Interstellar, y también por su trabajo junto con un gran físico como Kip Thorne, un premio Nobel de física, a quien involucró también en este proyecto, mostrándole sus ideas y lo que él quería hacer. Lo que encontró es que la ciencia y el análisis verdadero de todo lo que pasa en el mundo le puede dar muchas ideas maravillosas a un escritor como él, un escritor cinematográfico, y le puede dar grandes posibilidades, y él está muy abierto a eso. Entonces esto lo inspira y él lo adapta a sus propósitos.
Your stories aim to break the laws of physics, but at the time of staging it, you make it as real as possible, and you not use so much special effects. What is the reason?
Well, when you're dealing with the laws of physics, the interesting thing to me about TENET, as opposed to what we did in Interstellar, which was to try and really be true to the laws as they're best understood, and sort of push where we could take that story-wise. With TENET, what I wanted to do is take the existing laws of physics and change one very important thing, one small but important thing. I became really fascinated by the notion that when you're trying to look at time, you're trying to look at the time we all live in and are defined by, the laws of physics are the same forwards and backwards. So the only thing that distinguishes the direction of time, that to us seems so important, is entropy and the law of entropy. That's the one thing that's different, you know, front to back, if you like. And so then, to me, the fascination is to say, okay, if you just change that one little thing in the universe, you say, okay, if you could reverse entropy, it changes everything, and it suggests all kinds of visual possibilities, because, of course, time is that most cinematic of subjects, because the movie camera is the first invention that allowed human beings to see time, to visualize time. Before then, it wasn't possible to look at things speeded up or slowed down, or look at things backwards. And so all my fascination with the visual side of TENET and its manipulation of the laws of physics is based on the idea that it's so cinematic. It's this thing that you can write it, you can talk about it, we can talk about it on the radio, but ultimately you really have to see the story unfold. You have to experience it in a cinematic way to fully understand it.
Pues Mateo le pregunta por qué no usa efectos especiales en sus producciones, a pesar de que él apunta a romper las leyes de la física en sus películas, que cuál es la razón. Y él dice que lo interesante para él de TENET es que fue lo mismo precisamente que hizo con Interstellar, y fue ser lo más fiel posible a las leyes de la física. Lo que él quería hacer era coger estas leyes existentes de la física y cambiar una cosa pequeña pero importante, y es una noción con la que él está fascinado, y es el tiempo que todos vivimos. Él dice que las leyes de la física son las mismas el tiempo si miramos hacia adelante y hacia atrás, así que lo único que distingue la dirección del tiempo es la ley de la entropía, y eso es lo único que él manipuló en esta película. Él revertió la entropía y dice que eso cambia absolutamente todo y le da muchas posibilidades visuales porque es una forma de manipular el tiempo. Dice que la cámara es el primer invento que permite a los humanos visibilizar este tiempo. Antes no se podía acelerar una imagen o verla en cámara lenta o adelantar o atrasar una imagen, y por eso su fascinación con TENET, porque podemos hablar de este efecto que él hace en la película, en la radio, pero si no se ve la película no se entiende hasta que no se ve la historia.
What was the determining factor for you to choose John David Washington for the lead?
Well, I had looked at his work on the television show Ballers and just was very struck by his charisma. And then a couple of years ago, I was at the Cannes Film Festival with a print of Kubrick's 2001, and Spike Lee invited me to the world premiere of Black Klansman. And sitting there watching that screening, it was an electrifying screening. I was sitting right in front of Spike, which made me very nervous watching his film. But watching John David carry that film and take the audience through that story, the way that the best stars can, I really became firmly convinced that he would be able to bring the sort of warmth and generosity of spirit that I needed for this character, because I didn't want the protagonist to be the usual sort of cynical, hard-bitten sort of spy character. I wanted him to be a character who had a lot of empathy for his fellow man, and who can take the audience on this journey. And I think John David just has such, obviously he's an incredibly talented actor, but I just think he has such charisma and such warmth and generosity of spirit to take you on the journey with him.
Sobre por qué escogió a John David Washington, el hijo de Denzel Washington, para el papel principal, él dice que porque miró su trabajo en una serie de televisión que se llama Ballers y estaba impresionado con el carisma que tenía. Además, hace un par de años estaba en el Festival de Cines de Cannes y vio con Spike Lee la premiere de la película Backlesman, y vio cómo John guió a la audiencia a través de ese filme, como lo hacen las mejores estrellas, y lo hizo convencer de que era la persona que quería para esta película, porque además de ser talentoso, tiene el carisma, es generoso, es empático, y eso lo hizo la persona indicada para este papel.
Mr. Nolan, why did you decide to release the film during the pandemic and not postpone it as other films such as Black Widow and even Wonder Woman?
Well, I think Warner Brothers has done a tremendous job putting the film out there in the world, in the new reality that we're all having to learn to live and work by. Movie theaters all around the world were opening up and really desperate for movies to show, and I think Warner Brothers did the right thing by getting our film out there, and many millions of people have had the opportunity to see it safely and in a controlled way. And I applaud the studio for dealing with the new reality that as I say, we're confronted by. And as for the future, it's like, who knows what's going to happen, but I think that the film has been able to be viewed by a very wide audience, and the studio's done very well with the movie. I hope other studios will be releasing their films so that they continue to support theatrical distribution, because that's what we're there for, and that's what we do. Waiting for a future date that may or may not come, or may not come in the way you want.
Él decidió estrenar esta película durante la pandemia porque cree que Warner Brothers está haciendo un trabajo increíble sacando películas en esta nueva realidad, en el mundo que estamos, en el que hemos tenido que aprender a trabajar de esta manera, y él dice que está complacido de que su película esté ahí apoyando este momento de reapertura, y que otros estudios deberían estar también haciendo lo mismo para apoyar la reapertura en este momento tan difícil.
Acompáñenos en el canal de YouTube @Julio Sánchez Cristo Oficial.